Hi, what I would like to talk to you today about is financial discipline, which we have no idea about at all. Nothing of this has been taught to us in school. We all come into the working lives and then we start juggling around with our finance. Ultimately, learn the hard way how we have to go about. Discipline is very important, especially in finance. If you do not do it in the beginning, you will get used to these bad habits and ultimately you will pay a very heavy price, which will be very difficult to relearn how to avoid getting into this debt trap. The best is to be disciplined in finance from the beginning. First and foremost, we have to learn to manage the finance in a correct, methodical way, which no one has a clue in the beginning. It's all in a trial and error method which we go through. If we take the banks, they love us to have credit cards, which is the biggest evil out of all, which we put it down our pockets, and the devil is inside, which will make our lives very, very difficult on the long run. What this makes us do is we start living from our future earnings in the present. For example, if you are earning, let's say, somewhere around $2,000 or $3,000 a month, you start living on this, but whenever you need more, you borrow from the next month and go on paying. And the banks love us because if you start paying a minimum of 5% and keep the balance 95% as credit and go on paying them interest. And they consider us the best clients if we do this. They're not all that happy if we go on paying them the full amount in the due date because they don't make any money from us. So we have decided to make this presentation with a formula which is called EBIC. E-B-I-C. E is for expenses, B is for buffer, I is for investments, C is for charity. What we would say is to have 75% of your earnings, E for expenses. But when we say 75% of the earning, this will be a major problem for most of you to say it's very difficult for us to run our lives with 75% of the income what we earn for a month. And when we say income, we say is the total net income whatever we get per month. That is from any source, whatever you get the income, you have to calculate this in, deducting all the taxes whatever you pay, your EPF whatever you is given out as a collection, that should not be considered here. The government, if it decides tomorrow to increase the taxes by 25%, your companies will never ever increase your salaries by that amount. But you will learn to live with this 75% at that time. So consider this a compulsory tax and learn the hard way to go through life. Delayed gratification is far better than enjoy the things now. And B is the buffer, which you will keep 10% of your earnings, periodically saving in another account, which will eventually have a 6 months buffer. Even if you lose your job or some unfortunate incident happens, you can still survive for 6 months without going into unnecessary loans or begging and borrowing from all sort of places and paying undue interest. This is very important. If you take a car, you will see there's a buffer in the front and a buffer in the rear. But what we do is we just go on life thinking, let's cross that bridge when it comes. But in life, definitely things will happen, and it's a process. In our working life, we will understand that sooner or later, things will not go right every day. So you should be prepared eventually. If something comes like this, you are ready for it. And then I is the investment. You will learn from the beginning itself to save 10% of your money, and you will periodically collect this for 1 or 2 years and start investing this whatever way you will like to make money. So there will be another source of income coming to you in your life, and this will pay you very well 10 to 15 years time. And eventually, when you have finished your buffer for about 6 months, you can add that 10% also to the investment and start investing in something which will make you more money. But of course, this investment has to be very carefully selected. You should be able to do this at a later stage, but that's another topic completely to speak. And then I come into the last one is C, which is 5% of your income. Everybody will say, how can I give charity when I am not earning enough to myself? But the best way of getting through all this is to give, to learn the habit of giving out from the beginning. Yes, it may be difficult in the beginning, but this will be the major reason why you will succeed at last. This is the insurance policy which will take you through life. Life will not be a bed of roses, that's definite. Expenses will be more and more, but of course your income will also have to increase more and more. But if you do not know how to plan it, you will always be having more expenses than income. And your savings will be less or your investment will be less. There should be at least 2 or 3 sources of making income rather than having only one income source. To eventually achieve this, you will always have to be disciplined from the beginning and avoid this debt trap as far as possible. You see, if you plan this system for between 5 to 10 years time, you will have enough savings to have dual income easily. It is very important that we have 4 separate bank accounts to have the money in different accounts, so that we will not mix them up or draw from each account to fulfill the need in the other account. This is very important, that we should open accounts in different banks so that we will not mix the funds with each other. Hope this presentation makes sense and everybody will open their eyes and gain something out of it. And let's talk at another time. All the best. Thank you.